Hello everyone, welcome back to It Gets So Lonely in Here. I thought I'd start a little different. God damn it, I restarted this intro like 3 times. I thought I'd start a little different and start inside the game. That's all I wanted to say. You are in the princess's chambers later, perhaps later than... You were in the princess's chambers later perhaps than you ought to be. Later than is strictly appropriate. Also, it's raining like hell outside, so I'm gonna make this quick. I am only recording because I thought that it's actually pouring like crazy. Oh god, I hope my computer doesn't shut off. It is dark outside, and there is little save the light of the moon to alleviate it. That and the fire which crackles in the grates. You have only just finished stoking that very fire, and now you rise. Arise. You look to the princess who is lying in her bed, and you bid her a good night. Good night, princess, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause. Wait, dear one, do not go, not just yet. Perplexed, you pause, then look back at the princess. Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Is she alright? Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which make me feel a little out of sorts. And what, you ask, does she mean by that? Only that it is very cold and very dark, and it is very windy besides. I'm afraid there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out for our walk. The princess is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded about the gardens earlier, was very grey and steely, the wind bitingly cold. You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle was built of stone, and it is very well fortified, but even with the fire, it is rather cold. I don't know if you can hear that. I hope you can hear that, but my god. That is insane. You do not like to think of how much chillier, by comparison, it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace. It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights, just like this. They make me feel uncomfortable. So am I supposed to speak like the princess? Whoops. You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in a bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be alright? All alone in her oversized bed, in her high-clinged bedroom. Ceilinged. Yeah, bedroom chamber. You know it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be alright? There is nobody in the castle to hurt her, but still you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. What does fret mean? Worry? You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what it is she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this, pleased perhaps that you are taking the initiative. I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it is so very late, but would you mind sitting with me a while longer and reading to me? Provided that you can, of course. She's calling me stupid. This is a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. I can't read, can I? Hastily, you reassure the princess that yes, of course, you could read. You were a poor student in many aspects at the conservatoire, but you had something of a gift when it came to the literary arts. Reading books is all you have ever been good at. Oh, I see. I suppose I should have known. You're so incredible. I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do. Hehe. The princess's high praises make you flush. Awkwardly, you look away. No. Being able to read, you reassure her, is not such a great feat. Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like. This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see, old ones from centuries past. I have collected them. God damn it. I have a collection of them here, the princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab. The book is old though, and the bindings are weak. The page is brittle, the writing woefully old-fashioned. Please don't make me read that. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book, but I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading to me for just a brief while? Please, dear one. Oh, please. God, relax. I'll do it. The princess's request seems a simple one, expressed sweetly, so much so, you see no reason to refuse her. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then, you retrieve the leather-bound book, which is resting upon her bedside table, and spread it open. I can't read that. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You can feel in the left heft of the book's manifold pages the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps it is as old as the castle in which it resides. It is with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, that you begin to read to the princess a tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while, as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging, or so it seems, upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase, embossed upon the pages upon the pages of this aged tome, and they lived happily ever after. The princess sighs, as though this tale has touched her very soul. Would that there was a handsome prince to marry me. That's how you're literally trying to make me look dumb. Would that there was a handsome prince to marry me, she says somberly. Or better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a lowly, scullery maid. You blush at this idle remark and mumble softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you have never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, that the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says, And what would be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety? Well, of course, you reply, but for a princess to marry a scullery maid. You're still hung up about that, the princess titters. Don't pay it too much heed, I'm just talking to myself. As if anything like that would ever happen when there is no priest around who would obfuscate it. You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest? No, she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess was to find somebody that she loves, me, I'm a scullery maid, there wouldn't be nobody to make such an official wedding. Sorry, you cannot help but feel like you have avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, you do not feel a touch disappointed? Well, never mind. That was a nice story, the princess says. But I'm not sleepy yet, and it's still storming outside. Wouldn't you read me one more? Oh my god. Would you not mind? You would not mind, you replied. But it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber. Sorry, my voice is getting so scarily because of the thunder outside. I know, but can't you find it in your heart to read one more story to me? Just one. You can choose a short one. I won't complain. You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is the princess, though that is, of course, a part of it, but because she, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you turn to the next story re-encountered in this aged compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut your own tongue. What the I am not doing that, cutting my own tongue. You'll read another story to the princess, which is of similar vein to the last. Impossible adventures culminating as they're close in a happy marriage. Oh my god, this tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story soon becomes 5, and even then, when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. Well, Ben, when she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it, her only request that of more. If she was less comely, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no, would be seen as a character defect. The princess is very comely, however, and so, when she makes her next request, you almost agree offhand, without considering the ramifications. I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel so lonely on my own in this big, empty bed, so... I know. The princess's eyes light up like the night sky in a thunderstorm. Why don't you sleep with me? You stare at the princess, your eyes wide as a goose eggs. Slowly you blink. Then, just as slowly, you bid to repeat herself. Didn't you hear me? The princess giggles. Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me, you've neglected to clean out your own ears. Well, I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? If that is the question she truly means to ask, then there it is easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. That sounds so weird. But it would really be alright for you to accept such an invitation? It must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with the princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be? The princess's lower lips begin to tremble. Don't you want to lie with me after all? The sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her, in no uncertain terms, that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you? Well then, don't just stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come on, and join me. And that is what you do, after returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time in returning to your impetuous princess's side. She is already lying in a glorious four-poster bed, awaiting your return, as though you were a knight-errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. Again, completely unneeded. The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you have made a hash of the buttons, as she bids you to come closer. Let me fix that for you, silly. Oh no, you say, I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to dress her? She's already dressed. Maybe so, the princess says, but I don't mind a bit of a role reversal. It makes things so much more fun. You try a few more refutations, but in vain. The princess summarily discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy, she might even be more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightshade dress, then rebutton them, thank God, so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very large, elegant hands. The princess draws back and pats the mattress beside her. Now, come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm. Coyly, the princess smiles. And so am I. Oh, that one was good. You feel warm yourself as you slide into the bed beside the princess. Surprisingly, they didn't add a monologue for that part. That could have been like 4 paragraphs on its own. Your face is as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle's grounds. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what an effect she is having on you? Surely she must. How could any woman be so blind? There, the princess exclaims, once your body is lying beside hers. That is much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow, and with a shaky voice you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You are quite cozy indeed. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us in here. I know, when I'm with you, I'll be safe. Aw, it's strange, but... The princess reaches out, then takes your hand in hers, twinning your fingers like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel so safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you. I promise. You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? Well, she's the princess. I have no money. In a way, the princess replies, after a pause. But you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all a part of the job description here. You are unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, becoming a doctor, or an astrophysicist, or a mathematics professor. Excuse me? You tell the princess this, sleepily, and she laughs. You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it. Yes, you think, only half conscious. You think you deserve it too. You have been working hard for a long time. You have been running for even longer, but now, at long last, you feel like you can let your fears go. Your eyelids begin to droop. Your body beleaguered, okay, like why that, god damn it, by a sudden, all-consuming fatigue. Good night, and all in a quite understated sort of way. Your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus' kingdom. Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outside. Outdoors, god damn it, the wind is howling like a couple of wind cats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death. But you do not hear it, swaddled by the warm blankets about you, and soothed by the princess's presence. You are immune from all ills of the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and, yes, you even feel loved. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. Oh, You know that something is wrong. Catastrophic so. I'm just gonna end it here because of that. Oh my god, that makes me so mad. The moment you open your eyes, your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you are certain that when you fell asleep, it was in a bed, a nice warm bed no less, beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in a bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all. Oh my god! You are standing instead against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimidately you can feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. Oh my god, look at my eyes! I'm fucking crying. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You are trembling so much you can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. The sound is almost as jaunty as it echoes through your cell, for that is indeed where you are. The princess's bedchamber, wherein you fell asleep, is a thing now of the past. You are standing instead, you realize, with a sharp start in the cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with an anxiety. You feel like you are going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside you to a staggering degree when you catch the notice of the stench. You are not, you realize, the only one in the dungeon. There are others here, others attired in simple black and white outfits of servants which look much like the dress you once wore. The others who are like you, however, in this expansive cell, manicured to the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you. No shit, they're fucking dead, nor to tell you of their plights. They're all unfeeling, unseeing, unbreathing. They are all dead. You cannot approach these servants to check for their pulse, for you yourself are restrained, but even if you could, there would be no point. There is no way any human could survive the wounds which have been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. Over there, you see a woman, slumped, the front of her once white apron stained with blackish blood. There is a gaping wound in her stomach, one which her entrails have half escaped in some sort of burgundy goop which might have been pale pink. There is another woman slumped beside the first of a smaller stature. She is skinnier. Maybe she is not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might even be younger. The girl's age, or lack of, did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon the horrors. Alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheels. Wheels of her face have been half smashed in. Holy shit. Only one eye remains staring fixedly at the wall opposed to her in the ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there you see a woman who is missing both her arms and her lower jaw. Over there you see another who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? You have no idea. The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You know not how long these carcasses have been lying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. You feel a similar fate might befall you, should you stay here. You need to escape. Fitfully, you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Your restraints are much too strong, and you are much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, which terror seizes your heart, this too glacial. It is obvious that escape is impossible, but still you squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There is a little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save making the steel manacles dig into your abused wrists more sharply than before. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that would have not worked. The very definition of insanity is, performing a set action over and over again, hoping for a different response. There's no way. In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not so very different from insanity. Now that is an interesting point to consider. Would you not agree? No, evidently not. You are still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if that would do you any good. The clangorous rattling of your steely restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. You are making enough noise to raise the dead down in there, in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Wait, who is speaking? Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Not that you have ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way into the dark depths of the castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Well, I'm gonna leave that here. Oh my god, my throat is killing me. But that is so fun. Oh, it was so cute, and now it's got so freaking messed up. God damn it. I know this was a yandere Yuri, but like, who is she yandaring over? It's just me and her. She can have me all she wants. But, well, I guess we'll see what she wants in the next episode. And maybe, just maybe, I might survive. Probably not. Well, I'm gonna see everyone next time. But until then.